Okay. I want to get to two parts of the McLean thing, and then I want to get to Vic Fangio. But let's start with the Stoutland thing, because I think that was probably the biggest news that came out of the McLean report from, the Odyssey pod. Basically said that partway through the year last year, Stoutland was essentially demoted, loses the run game coordinator job. We didn't find out about that, obviously, during the year, just find out. And then unlikely to be the run game coordinator this year, kind of just focus on the offensive line.
With the offensive coordinator.
It's a big deal, period. And it is something that it's interesting on a number of levels. Obviously, like the fact that it didn't leak out last year when all the stuff is not working, they didn't say anything is weird. The fact that he's the guy they chose to move from. I mean, when I get it, like the run game was bad this year, but basically it's been the single best thing offensively that we've been able to count on from 2017 forward because of this guy. What do you make of this? Because it's from an outside in, like not in the building, whatever, it feels weird. The whole thing feels weird to me.
So my understanding of it is kind of what Jason Kelsey said, that this was about like making everything
more streamlined.
Yes. As opposed to
just for context, what Kelsey said is that the way they have it set up is because he's the run game and there's an offense core, that there's a lot of kind of people doing different things. You have to kind of meld it all together, and that can be complicated.
So I don't get the sense it was they don't think Jeff Stoutland's good at it. But ultimately, he was not the run game coordinator, so it's a little hard to completely believe that. But I think it was what Jason Kelsey said. Now, what was interesting about what Kelsey said is he always had a big problem with how segmented it was.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't like
that.
This
person does that. And he referenced how hard it is as a play caller to like call plays when you don't have 100% full understanding of every part because you're not doing every part. You do wonder if when Nick got more involved in play calling, if it was like, all right, like we need to simplify things, get this all together. Because you saw them do a lot of stuff in the beginning of the year. And then I think as the year went on, you heard them talk a lot about finding something we're good at, all being on the same page. Jalen referenced that a bunch, right? Like whatever we're going to do, we have to all be behind it. I think it was probably, this isn't going well. Let's simplify this to the bone. As a result, like the play caller is going to have a lot more say on how things look. So I think that's kind of what it was. And I also think as they go into the next kind of phase of this, they probably do want to try to do less segmented and more.
When Kelsey explained that, was probably it's weird they've done it.
And that would probably explain why Stoutland is not going to have the run game coordinator title
moving forward.
Yeah. But he'll presumably be in the building.
I mean, they say he's going to say the offensive line. And for McLean implied it's to work on the O-line and get them better.
Right. And I will say, while titles matter and like having responsibility matters, if Stoutland is in the building, you have him as a reference point. Like he is in the meetings. Like
he's not going to not help.
Maybe he doesn't have final say, but you at least have his logic, his thought process, and all of that. But if I was Stoutland, I wouldn't be happy. Like,
absolutely not.
Like you could streamline it without taking the title from him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, the whole thing it comes off as weird, especially with, again, I know it was not a great year, but prior to this year, I think, we'd all agree Jeff Stoutland, arguably the greatest assistant coach in the history of the franchise, like up there,
Well, the other thing to consider is back to the Nick play calling is like, if Nick's going to call plays, you want to talk about how sloppy the team was last year. Like, what do we think it's going to look like this year?
I don't like
when
that.
We thought, or at least I don't want to speak for you, but like effort seemed poor this year. They were sloppy pre-snap. Like we think now putting more responsibility on Nick's plate when his whole thing is supposed to be like, that's the other thing, not to keep kind of going on different tangents, but for 4 years now, we have heard Nick preach how important it is to have how he is a better head coach when he doesn't call plays. And now he's just going to call plays. Yeah. Like I would be curious to hear his answer, maybe it'll be, look, different years require different things, but man, it's
hard to walk that back.
Yeah. It's especially when you've been so
successful when you haven't done
and you've been so like strong in it. Like,
exactly.
So
best guess. And then I want to get to the other thing, McLean related, Michael Silver related. But your best guess, like not guess, your odd. What do you think the odds are that they actually end up after this whole thing and say, hey, Nick's calling plays?
15%.
Okay. So low. I thought so too. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, my advice to them, I would almost just lie about it.
Oh yeah.
Like if you hire Sean Mannion, be like, he's going to call plays. We know, but look, it's collaborative effort. It always has been, but he is the play caller, and then just don't deal with the whole offseason but also I would say at the beginning of this, I said, I thought Nick should assert his power. Like props if he does end up calling plays.
Yeah. That's him.
I do respect like
saying
I'm being like, I'm driving the ship.
Yeah.
And the fact
putting
of
himself out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating if that's the way they go. Obviously, I know fans will be happy, but it'd be fascinating. And look, a lot of people would finally get an answer that they want, certainly on that front. Okay. The other part that was interesting is Michael Silver involved in this as well, reporting about Kellen Moore last year and about working with Jalen and kind of Kellen basically at a certain point just kind of saying, like, I'm just going to call plays. Like, I'm just going to kind of run the offense the way I want. I'm not going to really worry about what he wants. What did you make of that whole thing? We've all heard the reports about Jalen and he's got the little Jordan stuff and kind of his input on the offense, them running things for him, why the offense is the way it is. What do you make of this Kellen Moore addition to this?
So I never got the sense that Kellen did his own thing. In 2024, I always got the sense that Nick had a lot to do with the offense, and they clearly went to a run-heavy offense. You've heard Jalen that year. Remember, he said, take the straitjacket off. Like, so I never got the sense that they were just running what they want. Now, unless you're talking about them running a run-first offense, and I'm just going to do it because this is what works. Like, that could be
I think that's more of that.
But I always thought that was more Nick, but that's just my understanding of it. Yeah.
I thought it was. What do you make of the Jalen situation right now? Because we've talked so much about Nick and the coaches, and like, I mean, you've heard a lot of stuff in the building. There's the little Jordan stuff. There have been rumors that he's a little difficult with stuff after winning the Super Bowl. What do you make of the Jalen situation right now? Especially because, like, I am someone who believes that Jalen will do whatever it takes to win, and we've talked about that for years and all that. But like, the non-running thing, which I think the organization was a part of, and Michael Silver talks about that and says that was on both sides, or Jim McClain does, one of them.
Right.
But like, do you think Jalen's going to be willing to kind of take is there going to be accountability here with Jalen? And is he going to step back and try and evolve or is it going to kind of come in and just be like, I want to do what I want to do. It's work. Let's do it. What is your feel on this?
It's a tough question. I mean, like,
because again, you're
they couldn't get him. They could not get him to run it last year. Right. So, I mean, going into next year, I think everybody in the building needs to acknowledge what happened last year did not work. Now, again, I do still firmly believe if they got great offensive line play last year, things would be very different, right? So that is worth acknowledging. Like, they could run things exactly the same, obviously little differences, whatever. And if you get better offensive line play, you're probably going to have a much better offense. I think it's a big year for Jalen. I think it's a big year for Nick. I think if Jalen goes into next year and like is the same guy, he won't be the quarterback in 2027. And the way I think, like, I think about it a lot, obviously. The way I would best describe how I feel about Jalen's status with the team is I think if they traded Jalen today, nobody that works for the team, plays with Jalen, covers Jalen, or covers the NFL would be surprised. I think the only people that would be surprised are fans. Does that mean they will trade him? No. But I cannot stress how different he is discussed by fans as opposed to
how he's discussed by people in the building.
Like, I don't know what else to say. That's not my opinion, right? So I think going into next year, he is on the hot seat. I think Nick is on the hot seat. And so like, will he be different? I mean, he kind of better be, like, if he wants to be with the Eagles. But also, I would say this in Jalen's defense. If the Eagles are going to keep Jalen as their quarterback next year, I don't want to hear any more like it's him. Like, the offense looks like this because of him. The offense looks like this because of him. He won't run the ball. He won't throw over the middle. He's tough to work with. You paid him. You kept him as the quarterback. Like, you knew who this guy was, for better or worse, with all of his positives, and every player has negatives. You knew who he was. And so I think another year of all these leaks of throwing Jalen under the bus would be very
bad.
Disingenuous. Like, again, if you don't want him as the quarterback,
don't have him as
the quarterback, but if you enter next year with him as the quarterback, then all these constant leaks again, which, by the way, are like, do have truth to him, right? Like, he didn't want to run the ball. He's short. He's not great at throwing the ball over the middle, right? Like, all those things are true, but you paid him, right? So really the only thing that's changed is the running. And then, we could talk about, like, he's like a mega super star now. Like, maybe, he's a little more stuck in his ways, but for what it's worth, his way works to, like, it's made him a lot of money and it's won him a Super Bowl. So I think if you're the Eagles, then you either got to trade Jalen or stop like the finger pointing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the finger pointing thing. I mean, we've talked about it. It's ridiculous, honestly.
But then trade him. Like, if he's such a flawed player that's hard to coach, they can't do. But
again, we just don't know where these leaks are coming from. And
they have to be coming from in the building.
I know, but I'm saying that, like, Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie might feel differently than the leaks, and thus nothing will happen. You know
Agree.
what I mean? So
no, I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the Vic Fangio thing, which I hope is not a thing. Like there's all kinds of rumors out there that he's going to retire. So I've seen people tweet about it. There's been,
it's like a dark web thing. Right
it's
now.
out there though, and
obviously
when Schefter did his little, I know something, but I'm not going to tell you, it get a lot of people. What is it? What's going on? Right. And it seems like a lot of people are surfing up and saying, hey, guess what?
So I feel
what do you make? What have you heard? What do you make?
I mean, if you would have told me 72 hours ago if Fangio was retiring, I think I would have been like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
Now, it would not shock me if by the time like the pod's out, right? Like I think when something like this happens and starts to get out, it happens relatively quickly. I mean, it would let's just talk about the hypothetical of if it does, it would be a massive blow.
It'd be a really big. Okay.
I mean, well, there's so many ways to go about it.
Go ahead.
But the first thing I would say to tie in our previous topics, if they're going to hire Sean Mannion as their offensive coordinator and have to hire a new defensive coordinator, you want to talk about Nick getting stretched thin.
I see this is what, and again, we don't know or whatever.
Yeah, we're just talking about
what makes it weird to me, unless Vic wanted to screw over the Eagles, which I don't think he would. As far as we know, he has a great relationship, whatever. Why wouldn't he tell them before Christian Parker left? You're around that team, the way you've talked, would you guess that Christian Parker probably would have been the top choice for the Eagles defensive coordinator?
I would have guessed, yeah.
Right? So I don't understand why Vic would have let, and maybe he didn't decide until recently, and stuff happens.
Retirement's a very personal decision.
It is,
but
it's just weird that even if the Eagles knew it was a possibility, that they wouldn't have found a way to fight for Christian Parker. You know what I mean?
I mean, it could also be that they were aware Vic was thinking about this. Christian Parker got a job offer, and they're like, well, we can't promise you this because we don't know. And Parker left, right? Which, I would not blame him completely.
Of course
for
not.
that.
I don't blame Christian Parker at all. Christian Parker took a job.
No, I know, but I'm saying, to what you're the timeline, it could be maybe Vic didn't know.
I hope that's it. If that's what happens, because it would be kind of lame if Vic did know
for sure.
Didn't say, so they couldn't keep Christian Parker.
But the tough thing too is Vic holds all the cards. What are you going to strong arm Vic?
Especially
if he's thinking about retiring, he'll just be like, all right, good news, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, this would be
it'd be a massive
it'd be a disaster.
Also, you want to talk about the fan base losing.
Oh my God, that's a point.
Vic is the shining light.
He's the thing that everyone believes in.
Yeah, it was at least the defense will be good. I mean, if you lose Vic, not only are you late in the process,
because
I actually do think the Eagles' defensive coordinator job is a very attractive job. You get to do your own
full
thing.
Control. You have
a
great
ton
players.
of the defense was awesome last year. You're stepping into
a great job,
elite defensive line. But the issue now is a lot of these elite defensive coordinators have been, hired as head coaches or probably committed to other staffs. So yeah, I mean, in the world where this is true, if they lose Fangio and they hire either Jim Bob Cooter or Sean Mannion and they lose AJ and Lane retires, there's a real world where you go into next year and their over under for wins is 9.
Yeah. No, it's gone poorly.
And by the way,
sports have fallen apart in the last 2 months.
I mean, we have the Sixers, but
do we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, second round exit should be great. Trade Embiid.
I know you're there. We don't have to yet, but
no brainer.
I think AJ's
all time no brainer.
I think AJ is gone.
Oh, so you've kind of moved.
I think AJ is.
So what makes you say that?
It's just what I think. I don't know what to say. That is, I think AJ will not play for the Eagles.
Well, I've said that for. I mean,
I'm just saying I'm there.
You're with me now.
Yeah. Okay. I think AJ will not be on the Eagles next year,
which will be sad because you were not there. I was there.
Right.
You were not there. You were
sad.
But he's out.
I think he's gone.
Wow. That's fine. I'm fine with AJ.
All right.
That doesn't bother me that much.
It's not going to be easy to replace. Didn't have a good year, but will not be easy to replace AJ.
My last memory of AJ is a bad
one. Which is
one.
a shame.
Yeah. It's
also. And I think you'll agree with me on this, obviously. I'm a big AJ guy, not an Eagles Hall of Famer.
No.
If you're putting him in the Hall of Fame, at that point, half the roster,
can't do it.
Goddard should be in it.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Man, it's tough.
And then there's Lane.
Yeah.
Which we're just guessing on that too. But I think Lane will play is where I lean. But
yeah, I don't think Lane wants to go out that way. And also he did.
But is Lane going to sign back up for
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think Lane's going to finish out he's got 1 year left in his contract, right?
He's got 2, I think.
Oh, really?
But I think it might be
I think it's an option because he said 2 more years before last year.
Yeah. I think
I think this is Lane's last year if he plays.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Although honestly, amazing things happen with Embiid's knees.
You're right.
You never know,
get that surgeon. All right. Anything else before we get to final thoughts?
No, but
this is great. This is a really uplifting podcast.
It's not
all my pods are so fun these days. Really. Yeah, I'm really enjoying myself.
Agreed.
Thank you.